Say the pledge with us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
Batter up.
Any additions or deletions? Okay. Is there a motion for approval of minutes for May 26, 2020 council meeting?
I move we approve the minutes of the May 26th council meeting.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Reports. Councilman Moulton.
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilwoman Fonts.
I have nothing.
Councilman Kincaid.
Trying to participate in all the county COVID-19.
Getting hard to do that.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
Keep forgetting too.
We have one this week, Thursday, guys. Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday.
I remember.
Oh, we don't have one tomorrow.
Participated in the
No,
month.
it's Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I participated in the monthly planning and zoning meeting, May 5th. We discussed the Sage Park subdivision and any concerns we might have with that. So we had a pretty good spirited discussion there. Then we also discussed the railroad ROW walk path from Middle Lark Road to Millar Road, which is going to be pretty cool. So
Roy,
that's it.
Are they still planning to go ahead with the Sage Park development?
Well, that's the discussion right now. There's things that we're concerned with that probably will have to happen before that happens.
There's a certain amount of information that we send down to the county on that, and it's approved by the county, and whether whatever we have to say makes any difference or not, usually doesn't, but we have our concerns.
Yeah, we discussed that about sending it to council, or we need to or not. We really can't make any decisions, so.
Usually say something about it and vote on it, but since there's no really true planning and zoning ordinances in the county, there's really not. They're within, they're right next to the city limits, so we do have some say about what they're doing, but I don't know how much that holds.
That's basically why, because we're within a half a mile. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Nunn.
Yes. Got this really cool thing on my door. I hope you did too. Tammy told me she designed it. I think it's positively lovely. It had really nice information on it. I love the color, and I loved having it hang on my door. Thank you. And that's it for reports, but I do have a couple questions. Are you ready? This is a long question, Bruce.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. I was under the impression that we were pushing forward on the community park so we could create jobs and show forward movement in our community. Given the state of our local economy with tax revenue somewhat uncertain, and given the fact that the county is discussing cutting costs, should we consider modifying our forward movement and adopt a plan that spends $2.1 million for this fiscal year with the other $2.1 million for further development the next year? What are your feelings on that?
My feelings is to move forward with the total project because of the amount of underground infrastructure that has to go in first. Needs to be done along with the construction of the building we have. We kicked that project off with the engineers and the architects 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And since it's in our budget, I feel that, we've got that covered for this coming fiscal year. It should go to bid the end of August, first part of September.
Correct.
For things for them to do. I feel I can't see us doing half the project. It'll look like we've destroyed the property and done nothing if we don't move our way through it.
So there'll be nothing done down there this summer?
Yes, it will be.
Well, it'd be late this summer.
On this project.
Yeah, and actually,
Down Third
that's
Street
true.
right now, they'll be putting in the 4-inch water line with a vault and meter, and then stubbing out for possibly a future pool. And then down Cedar Street will be sewer lines and conduit and everything else we're running conduit for power and future fiber optics or whatever we might need over there.
So this is creating some jobs in our community?
Oh, yeah,
Is this Andrian Hunt doing most of
and
this?
Green Hunt, it's on this project, yes.
It's on this infrastructure project.
Okay,
And we are kicking off the end of this week, construction project, a meeting here with Andrew and Hunt to move on, getting started right away with the pathway project.
okay, number 2. When the state reduces spending, how may this impact some of our local programs like the Community Block Grant, the HOPE Project, and even the schools? Do you have any idea what's going to go on with those?
I don't know how that affects the schools. Our money, the school district's based on property tax. We are not based on property tax. We're based on sales tax. It's two totally different things. So is the state. The state's not based on sales tax. They're based on property tax and ORM taxes and mineral trust money, mineral monies. Totally different forms of revenue that support them and that don't support us.
So basically, our local projects should see no cut or no...
We've seen a fall off in our revenue, yes, but we're ahead of where we planned for this total fiscal year. We are going to take some money from reserves to do this project over here, but I thought we were all on board with that. I think once you start that project, you need to see it start to finish because there's a terrible amount of infrastructure goes in underground there first, and then as you cover that all up with everything that goes in. So it's a project that I don't think you want to stop in the middle of it because you hold it out a year, you could end up having to spend more money to
Catch it
because
up.
of change in cost of materials and everything else to move on, and your bids are probably going to come in way higher if you split it.
Okay, all right. Here's the monthly question. Where do we stand on hiring the fire chief?
I have all those. I've talked to a couple people. Got one guy called in, and I'm going to try to in the next 2 weeks talk to the people that I want for my interview committee and move forward with that.
Okay, sounds good. And finally, are our meetings still closed to the public?
Or what?
Are our council meetings still officially closed?
We're going to. That's what I was going to bring up tonight. In mind is we're going to open the council meeting open back up to the public at the next council meeting.
At the next council meeting? Good, I think that's great. I like that. That's it. Thank you.
Tammy.
So that was one of my things, was to mention that the next council meeting will be open. We have town hall open. We started, I think, was it this Monday? No, I mean,
Last
last
week.
Monday. Last Monday, we opened town hall back up.
You have some restrictions?
The amount of flow in and out of the building.
Just don't get a lot.
It's not a high flow building, just so you know.
Do you guys have those barriers up?
Oh, not yet.
Do you
Got 'em
think,
ordered. I haven't seen them yet.
do you think you'd offer like masks or anything, along by your sanitizer, your hand sanitizer?
We have sanitizer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we're doing that. We have sanitizer in the utilities office, and we have sanitizer upstairs, but I don't picture us offering masks for everybody. We have people that come in for 2 minutes to drop off a utility bill or,
Our numbers are pretty low.
yeah.
I think we should consider things for council, though. Distancing.
Well, we will in here. We're probably going to have to mark off which seats they can and can't sit in. Our numbers are still, in here would be 25. And an offset between each row. Now, if it's family or members that are related, they can sit together. But other than that, we're going to spread them out in here. So, of course, it's not going to allow too many because council and department heads were over half that number now. So it's not too many through the door. I don't see anybody beating on the door to get in anyway.
No, last week, I think upstairs, all week, we might have had,
2, maybe 3.
yeah,
Right.
3 people even come in upstairs last week, so. And then I was going to also mention the census. We decided to bite the bullet and print up the door hangers, and
Really nice.
so we got those handed out. And the census department also apparently came into town and started finally handing out their little packets. And so our numbers are up, our response numbers are up. I've had several phone calls. And the biggest question is, why did they get packets and hangers if they've already responded? So if you've already responded, you can just disregard. So
This is really great. I like that.
it turned out to be pretty easy. So yeah, and then hopefully, so I think the deadline was extended till October. So I'm guessing pretty quick. The Census Bureau folks will actually start coming to people's houses that haven't responded. So
Are they
they'll
gonna go
get you.
Are they going to go to all houses, or are they going to know specifically?
They'll know
They'll
specifically.
go only to the houses that they haven't. Good.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
Kelly, treasurer.
At this time, I just let everybody know our sales tax check came in and it was down a little bit. It's still averaging out pretty well for this year, and going ahead, looking forward, we'll see where it ends up again next month, because there is a lag with when we receive them. So paying attention to it, and we'll see what happens.
We're paying very close attention to it. Public Works, Randy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Crew's been busy with the garbage collection, parks work, water turnoffs for the project. Repairs the shop roof. We had a big cave in the wash bay, and due to we didn't know the weather stripping was out of the ridge cap, and blew a bunch of snow in there, and all the drywall came down. So we got that repaired and the ridge cap repaired. And equipment, we had to do some equipment repairs. The project's going really well. They're just moving along. They're all the way down to Fur now with the water line and everything. So they're moving along, doing good. They are stopping at Fur, and then they're going to go back, and they got to do the stub outs on Grove, and then they're going to do all the services, and then they'll come back and continue on. ML project, I went to their meeting at 7:30 this morning, and Levi Single is a little over 4 days ahead of schedule. So they're moving right along and pumping a lot of slurry and filling the voids, and doing a really good job. And I've had a lot of compliments about their cleanup and how courteous they are. So
They cleaned up really nice tonight.
yeah,
They always do every day.
yeah.
It's always clean down there, very clean. They
I
are drilling,
passed that on to them.
they are drilling really close to your water main up Sunup Ridge.
I know.
Just hope they don't clip that one.
Randy,
My pleasure.
what are they doing on the Commerce Building downtown?
Oh, that was, we've had that budgeted for a long time. The blocks are starting to fall out.
They're fixing them?
Yeah, and we got bids, and then we couldn't get anybody here, and we finally got him here, and it was just when he could fit us in, and he just showed up.
Good, that's
He
excellent.
showed up Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, they've
Last
been,
week, planning on probably a couple weeks.
Couple weeks,
Fixing
yikes.
everything, yes.
And one other question, are we going to start on the town hall project this summer? On the drainage or
No.
whatever, no?
No, we're just gonna do this section along Cedar with this project. That's all. Right now, we just decided to hold off on some.
we've
of it.
held off on this project for City Hall for this year.
Yeah.
Will that take care of our water problem?
It'll help a lot of it.
Some of it, not all of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Randy? Not? Building inspection.
Building department, since our last council meeting, we had 7 new permits out. All of them are smaller fences, nothing big projects. We got 4 closed. I got 16 notices out for closing of existing open permits. On the code enforcement side, we're pushing on the alleys, lawns, lots, we're being code cleaned up. We started primarily today on starting notifications for legal notifications. I handed out 130 courtesy call letters, which honestly, I'm not exactly the number, but we had over 70% of them comply on that. So it's just, I think it's a little bit of time and everything's working out good, so that's it.
Questions? Not, we'll move on to Police Department. Chief Steele.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A lot has happened in the world of law enforcement across the nation in the 2 weeks since we last met. To assure the Council, I've had a conversation with all of our officers, and I feel confident in the work that our officers do and how they approach the job. However, I will be reviewing our policies to ensure that we are using, we address best practices in law enforcement, and it's codified in our policies to ensure that regardless of who we're dealing with, we use the appropriate amounts of force in dealing with combative subjects and other subjects. We did have one allegation that protests related to George Floyd's death may come to Glenrock. We did all we could to prepare for it, even though we felt like it was probably a hoax. Nobody showed up. We were prepared and had extra people on the streets just in case, but nobody showed up. But it was good. They had mostly peaceful protests in Casper. Last thing I have to say is reference our sergeant position. A conditional offer has been made and accepted, and I am busy conducting a background investigation on that person. And once we have a formal acceptance of the job upon completion of the background investigation, I'll provide more information about who our new sergeants will be.
Any questions for the chief?
No, I just want to thank you for continuing to keep our community safe.
I will accept your thanks on behalf of the entire department, and it's our pleasure to serve.
Thank you.
Do we normally do our background checks, or don't we have somebody do them for us usually, or?
I know that when I was hired, my background check was done by an outside agency. However, for other candidates, I believe it is appropriate for the department to conduct background investigations. For example, we did the background investigation for Officer Richard.
Okay.
And let Kay know that we're all thinking about the loss of her mother.
We'll do it.
Any other questions for the chief? Not, we'll move on to IT. Jared.
Yeah, so working on camera and server infrastructure quotes, just kind of getting that shored up so we're ready to go July 1. Working on getting the phone lines transferred to a SIP trunk. That means we take them from the current copper lines that deliver our phone lines right now and bring them over the fiber that delivers our internet as well. So it's a little bit higher quality, a little more redundant. The mini splits got installed in dispatch and then in the server room back there, and it's helped tremendously for that equipment and everything back there. So that was much appreciated. And also working on starting to look at and demo mass stuff going on with our work over here and everything. It'd probably be pretty handy to have something that we can reach our citizens, and a lot of those mass notification systems do email, text, phone calls, kind of the whole gamut, and it makes it really easy to reach out and get in touch with the residents. So we're looking at demoing some of those here shortly.
Any questions for Jared?
What kind of mass notification systems would you be looking at?
So some of the more popular ones you might have heard, like Everbridge is a pretty popular one. There's a couple different vendors out there that run them, but basically what it is it's a system that people sign up for. So you have to sign up. It's not forced. We wouldn't automatically enroll anybody. It would only be for those that would want to sign up for it. But what you'd be able to do is we'd be able to, from one dashboard, to send a single message that would text phones, call phones, send emails, and be able to, and it's also, a lot of those can do geofencing, so you can pick a certain location and then you could send just notifications to those areas. So if we were having water work impact, citizens in this area, we could just send it to those. We wouldn't have to send a town-wide notification necessarily. So it would just be a very convenient way, because right now we struggle with, I think Facebook is kind of one of the most current ways that we're able to get in touch with people, and not everybody obviously is on Facebook. And our town website, I'm also working on a new design. I sent some templates out for you guys to kind of review and send me some feedback. That'll be another way to help out, but again, not everyone's checking the website all the time. So to have something that can maybe send a text or reach their phones, or call them on a landline if they don't have a cell phone or don't use any sort of social media, might be helpful.
That sounds really good. I like that.
I don't know if you got anything from Rob Brewer today. I got a phone call from Rob Brewer today about the fire department has talked about what the numbers are for gatherings, and don't know that we're going to see a change from the governor. Probably, I'm guessing he will probably have a conference out this week sometime, because the health orders go through the 15th of this month, so it's getting really close. So the fire department has made the decision to not hold the fireworks. I do not know why. I know there's a concern at the numbers, but if the governor changes his numbers for groups, I will go back to Rob and those guys and ask them to really reconsider that, because it keeps them from chasing 1 million fire calls in the county. And what we're looking at right now with no moisture, they could be chasing a lot of grass fires instead of kind of having them all in one place. So that's what I received from them today. Part of the reason for what Jared talked about was getting information out is we have found that on this street, the sewer and water project, that we were in dire need to upgrade the south side, because we've had some real problems every time we get to an intersection. And it takes further out to get water shut off. So we've affected more people than what's getting notified to start with by Andrew Hunt. So we worked on this last week after this last notification, because we couldn't get the water shut off. So we were shut off clear down here past the rec center. So we affected a lot of people till late in the evening, till about 7:30, 8 o'clock that night. They're close to the intersection now of Fur. When they get to that, everybody behind them will be in a lot better shape, but coming this way, it would affect other numbers. So we're in probably the construction meeting tomorrow, we're going to have that discussed with Andrew that we know what we're dealing with, to reach out further. The side streets may not have as much effect, going back to make the stub outs and stuff and get everybody tied in up there, going back the 2 blocks and tying everything in. But the next time we get into an intersection, we're going to inform a lot more people, give the heads up to the water department, because they get the ones that get to field the nasty complaints on the telephone. Why don't we have water? When are we going to get water back? And usually when you cut that many water mains and trying to put in that many valves and all the mechanical joints in there, it's an all-day project. It's not a simple thing to be done. So
I had a discussion with Andrew Hunt today that I need to know at least 2 days ahead of time. Last time, I'm supposed to have been able to close every thing down with 7 valves. We had to close 18 valves to get everything shut down, because they just wouldn't hold. That's how old they are.
They're all late 70s, early 80 valves, so they're way past their prime. So that was the reason for this project to get done.
When this is shut down, is that having an effect on the fire hydrants?
Does in that area, yes.
That area does?
Yes, and that we know when we're going to be shutting things down. Usually the fire department gets a notification that if we get a fire in that area, what to deal with, And I know it also affects, the police department's not seeing some of the side streets getting shut off very quick. So I know the chief wants to be at the meeting tomorrow, so they get a little more information for our duty officers to know which streets are open, which ones ain't. I thought they might be into that. Well, they were at the intersection this morning. Yeah, I know they're not going to cross it, but I thought we might have a problem today. But they're going back to do the stuff, so they're a week or better out, almost 2 weeks out before they cut this next intersection. But we're going to try to do a little better job of letting people know. It's not a simple thing to just put that many connections in, but we're working on it. We need to get 3rd Street and the side streets done. We want them done in that street repaved before school, with school coming in the fall. And if they're back, we don't want to be causing a problem with with the buses and everything else and traffic flow to the school, especially the middle school up there. So that's the push, to get the water down, the water and stuff through 3rd Street done before that happens and the street repaved.
These guys are moving fast, though.
Yeah, they're not wasting any time. But that's all I have for reports tonight. I don't believe we have anything from the floor. Is there anybody on, Jared? Okay. We'll move on to new business, which first order of new business is, let me get to it, is ordinance number 720. It would be passed and approved and adopt for the third reading this date, the 8th day of June 2020. It's our fiscal year budget. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move on with ordinance number 720.
I'll second it.
Final reading the budget.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded.
It's done.
Any discussion? Apparently we've been wasting too much time. Let's move. Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Next order of business is, let me go back, would be two young ladies sitting there. If you'd like to come up to the, first one is your malt beverage permit, and I believe that's for the Brewfest.
Perfect. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kaylin Kent. I just took over a sales and marketing position with Cowboy State Brewing. And I'm here for two things tonight. So we'll start with Brewfest. The first pamphlet you have says Cowboy Brewfest on the front, the first annual, hopefully. And we are here to ask you for a metering permit and an open container permit for July 11th. And also, hopefully, to block off the block between West Aspen and West Birch Street. The reason for this was because Bruce didn't feel that there was enough room in the parking lot for us to keep the social distancing. With numbers up to 250, I mean, that would be amazing if we had that many. Our goal is 200, so we should be well below the 250 mark. And then if we do that block, that'll be plenty of room for everyone to gather. We're going to have a concert that night. It's with Sean Curtis. He's out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. He's kind of like, he reminds me of Chancey Williams, just not as big of a band. We booked him last year for a Calcutta in Cheyenne, and he was amazing. He did really good. It was a perfect family event. Kids loved him, parents loved him, everyone. So the goal is to make that family event happen in July. It's all focused on Wyoming breweries, and it's a nonprofit organization, or nonprofit event. So all of the proceeds that are made will actually go to the University of Wyoming Cowboy Joe Club. Really, we just want to get people downtown into our businesses. I called 10 other breweries. If you look at that last page, it's kind of a flyer. It's kind of just a rough draft. 2 of those breweries will not be able to be here, but I have a couple others lined up. I just wanted to give you guys something to look at, basically. All of those breweries are very excited. So, like I feel everyone else believes that this has been a pretty tough year. So they think that this would be an awesome opportunity for them to get their brand out there, all while bringing people into our community.
Okay, before we do any discussion on this one, there needs to be a motion and a second on the floor. So is there a motion for the application for a malt beverage catering permit and open container permit for the Brewfest?
I move that we accept this application for this Brewfest.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved. It's a second. All right, discussion.
Is this how it's supposed to look on the stage?
I just wanted to give a little representation. I tried as hard as I was going to draw, but my drawing is not the best. So my thought was to have the stage facing towards Rolling Hills at the end of the block, so like right at the four-way. So it'll be facing towards Rolling Hills, and then at the other end will be all the brewers, because all 10 brewers will bring their own little setup. They will supply the beer, they'll serve themselves, or they'll serve people who come. So all of them will be at the other end, and then in the middle there will be tables, so people can bring their families, they can eat. Parents, legal age people can try the beers. There will be live music all day long. If you've heard of Chase and Guybo Mangus, they will be playing during the day, kind of like as headliners, and then the big concert well, not big concert, but the big event will start at 7.
Can you close down 4th Street?
Yeah, 4th Street, well, 4th Street's not a state highway.
On that side of Birch, it's not a state highway.
It's not a state highway.
Okay, so
On the other side.
Are you anticipating having food vendors there?
I'm not sure. What were you thinking?
We're kind of waiting to see what happens.
We can, so if we could bring in other like food trucks or maybe anyone around the community who wants to kind of serve something. We could ask them. We have like pizza and burgers and stuff that we could serve from Cowboy State Brewing. Whatever you guys really think. We're kind of just open to it.
Where would you place them?
Well, the food trucks are usually just along the street, so we could place them like at Deer Creek Days. You know how there's usually the one or two right on the street. We could do that and have them facing towards the sidewalk, so people could just walk up to them. Or we could put them in this area, because I bet it would be big enough for one or two.
So is there a way to control the age deal? You're going to have wristbands?
Yep. So in here I stated we're going to have wristbands. There will be people checking IDs. I was thinking maybe just having one booth for IDs, so there's only one person doing it. Everyone will go give their ID. If they're of legal age, they'll get a wristband. And then they'll have to have the wristband when they go up to the brewers to get any alcohol. I did talk with a couple other breweries who have been to events like this, who wasn't just like a 21 and up, there was an all ages thing, and they said the wristbands worked really well.
Just, I have one question on your ownership here. You have Roxy and Bill both entered as 40% each. Are you missing somebody that holds 20% of that corporation?
Jason, he's the brewer.
How come he's not listed on your application?
So we just fill them in.
What's that?
Do you just want us to put
We
him
can
in?
fill it in and.
Yeah, it has to be. It needs to be there so it's a complete one.
We can do that.
So
It has to be on there so we're doing this appropriately. But
Okay.
the other thing I did talk to the ladies about the other day, I went and had a meeting with them, was if there wasn't a consensus with the council to hold this downtown, that they should also, the option of possibly going to South Rec instead of here in the middle of downtown. I recommended that to them just as another option because I wasn't sure how council would feel about this. So I did give them an option. I think that's why it's wrote in, or other options on part of the application. So is there any other questions for these ladies?
Not yet. I haven't talked to any other businesses yet because I wanted to get your guys' approval first. I kind of wanted to have all my ducks in a row and have the approval before I go to businesses and say,
I just didn't want them to be upset with closing
Right.
the street down.
Yeah, because we closed down that street that direction. We're affecting a few small businesses that
Yeah.
way, and I just want to make sure that they are okay with that.
so Sheer Heaven, they're not open on Saturdays, and the taxidermy isn't open on Saturdays either.
And I don't think
I'm
I'm
sure
not
about the
sure
bowling
what
alley.
Randy's doing. I'm not sure what Gary's doing. He's not opened back up yet, but I don't think the insurance agents are open on Saturday
No,
either.
they're not.
So just wanted to make sure that we don't want to create a problem with any other businesses there.
Also, the time frame on the blocking the street, I didn't know what you guys would like. I didn't know what would be too early or too late. Whatever you guys think we can do. We could do it a little closer to the event, a little earlier.
I'd have to say you'd have to do it close to the time of the event, so
Yeah, that would be fine.
when that gets shut down, because it will affect traffic flow.
Yeah.
What time runs?
So that wasn't set in stone. That was just an idea.
Says the event goes from, it's just a one-day event, correct?
Yep, just a one-day event from 3 p.m. to 11. So it'll be over. It's not a very late event or anything like that.
Is there any more questions or anything for this Brewfest?
It's a good location. I do like the idea, maybe South Rec too, if we do get some pushback. Something
And I
that we
think
could consider.
it initially came up because they were talking about wanting to
Yes.
close down Birch Street.
Actually,
They were
close
saying they
Birch
can't really
between
do
4th
that.
and 3rd
Okay.
on
And
the
the only
highway.
reason we were talking about doing that is because we were afraid there wasn't going to be enough space over there, but we still wanted to keep it in the downtown so people can still venture out. Like during the day, they can go have lunch at the businesses here. They're just right here. They can walk into the Classic. They can walk wherever.
Does the police chief have any thoughts on downtown versus south?
He's moving around.
That was my next question.
The first thing I'd like to know about is traffic control to close down the roadway. Are you planning on relying upon the town to provide traffic control devices inside?
I was gonna see what you guys thought. I know for Deer Creek Days, we always use just the roadblocks that the town has given us. Well, not us. I don't know why I say that now. But when my mom did it, we always just used the roadblocks that the town did. And then at the end of the night, we would go and move them to the side, and they could pick them up that next morning. And I'm open to using that or whatever you think.
Because we're going to have some signage up besides blocking that street off
Right.
of directions around that area for traffic control.
Yeah.
Because that is traffic north to go, you know, part of
Right.
that goes down 4th Street to get over to 6th Street and out. And so we'd have to have some directional stuff,
And
signage
I'm
put up
open to
also.
whatever you guys think. I just wasn't sure if it would be easier to use the stuff that the town already has, because I know that it's big and.
I will defer to the Public Works Director as to whether he thinks that the town has the appropriate signage and barricades.
We do. We have detour signs, we have road closed, we've got everything.
Okay.
Are you, if this is held down here, you're going to have the appropriate number of porta-johns and stuff down out there?
Yeah, we can. We'll get all that set up for you.
Okay.
And then along that line for logistics, would be portable lighting for after dark. I think that probably 2 lighting stands.
You're going to need some lighting and some power for your band.
Yeah,
anyway.
so we have the, gosh, what are they called? We always get them, we got them for the dummy roping, always at Deer
Light
Creek.
plants?
Yes, light plants. We have those, and we usually use 2 at the dummy roping, and it lights it up pretty well.
Those are pretty nice.
Well, wherever the people are and the stage and the like, I would like to see additional lighting. And then the last thing that I would recommend is that should the council approve the permit and the event, that Cowboy State Brewing, as the sponsor of this event, be responsible for ensuring that all vendors participating adhere to the public health orders as they are at that point in time, which very likely could include ensuring 6-foot distance for people standing in line at the various brewers as they get drinks in the line.
We can do that. We can put stickers and everything down like they have in the stores to proper the 6 foot in lines, if you'd like.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
We could do that.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to I'm sure we're going to see something sometime this week from the governor. Whether he changes any of the health orders, I'm not sure. He may change some numbers. I just don't know what he's going to do.
If he doesn't, if it stays the same. or
There's
stays the
been
same.
been no indication.
Right, if it
from
stays the
him.
same as it does right now, then we'll make sure that there's proper like stickers and
And
everything.
that's why I said that just that they be required to adhere to the health orders as they are at that point in time.
We can make sure of that.
That's all I have, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we will vote on Brewfest. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. It's 3-2 vote, motion carries. On to your next one is
Okay.
which is, you have, basically, I believe this is the one, you just have a catering, not a catering, but an open container permit.
Yep, open container. And then that second packet I gave you, the first letter is actually from Bill Hensley. I think you guys received it the last meeting. It's just the same one to kind of go over what he asked for the first time. And then the second letter is just some extra things that we're throwing in there. Right now, we're looking to get a continuous open container permit to hold events only on the weekends out in the parking lot of the ACES. And basically, we're doing this because Bill and Roxy would love to create a brew pub, which basically, like, if you guys have ever been to other breweries, like the one in Saratoga's a perfect example. Right outside, they have a little like beer garden area. Everyone can go out there, sit down, relax, enjoy a beer. Bill and Roxy would love to see this happen here. So this summer they kind of want to test things out to see if the community responds to it well and how they do. And if we do, then we would put the money into building one. But to have that happen, since there is the alley between the ACES and the parking lot, we aren't able to do it without an open container.
Before we have any discussions, we do need a motion and a second for this if we're going to move forward with any discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the open container permit as presented.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Now, by portable fencing, is that going to be wood fencing or that, like, the cattle gates they have in the front there?
We can do whatever. We were talking about doing like the wood pallets, getting a bunch of them and putting them up so it was a little more sturdy than just the orange fence. Or there was the Powder River fencing, the green fence, the like metal ones.
Like I talked with you guys the
Yes.
other day, I don't want to see pallets. I don't want to see construction fence. I want to see a fairly permanent style type fencing around this area if it goes forward, so it's maintained and we don't have a problem. Your fencing last time didn't even come close to for the few days that you had it. And the other problem we have is how you plan on dispensing out there. It's a little hard for you to walk out and down a public street to provide alcohol in that area, especially crossing an alleyway. So you haven't asked for a catering permit for out there to be able to serve in that, and if it's extended for any length of time, I think we need some clarification from the State Liquor Division on the fact that it's outside of your dispensing area in an extended period of time for that, I think could become a problem without finding that out from them first.
Hopefully, I emailed the liquor division today, and I haven't heard back from them, but hopefully I'll have an answer tomorrow. Because the only other issue I was concerned about is that there's, like, each license holder can only get so many special permits a year, and so I don't know how
That would work for us.
it would work for a,
It's hard, this is something that's, it's like we said when we talked about this, is something that's normally a very short period thing for 1 or 2, maybe 3 days, and that this is for in a very, very extended period of time, and I just want to make sure that we're not in violation of anything with the Liquor Commission and/or how things would run out there, because you almost need a serving area out there, because bringing it out and down the public sidewalk to there is, I feel, is not going to be a good
Right.
situation.
And we could do that.
And we
if need be.
discussed that, so.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Mr. Mayor?
The biggest thing is just to know that this wouldn't be like every day of the week thing. It would just be for the weekends, and it wouldn't be like a big party. It's just something to get people out into the community. It would be done earlier in the night, so people wouldn't be out being loud.
You also have to think of transactions. I think you still are paying inside.
Yeah. Yep.
So with the
unless
COVID-19
unless
things going on,
it's catering.
separate people have
Right.
to do that.
Unless we get the catering, then it would still be out there. But we could just do the. What do you think?
I mean, we wouldn't be making any drinks or anything outside. We would have somebody serving, and we can even have somebody go through the building and cross the alley instead of going down the sidewalk if that's an issue.
Yeah, that's something we did discuss, because that can become a problem out there, and I think that would be an issue for law enforcement and everything else, and we really need to know the number of special permits. I know it's very limited to the number a year for outside events, so we need to know that.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to offer an amendment to this motion that we hold the approval vote until the next meeting to allow for a response from the State Liquor Department and maybe to get some clarification on the means of dispensing the liquid.
I would say if we're going to hold it, we almost need to vote on the motion that we have now instead of containing it. It would be probably a no vote and bring it back at the next council meeting to vote on it at that time, because we really can't table something. You either have to vote.
Mayor, let me provide some information based upon what you said that you're going to have to provide a vote for today. Under state law, you can only issue a 24-hour malt beverage permit or catering permit, and malt beverage permits are only authorized for sales at a picnic, bazaar, fair, rodeo, special holiday, or similar public gathering. The way I read the statute, it does not provide for an ongoing permit, as is being requested.
And the biggest problem is for you guys over there, and that's what we discussed the other day, is the fact that we have to cross a public alley unfortunately, the parking lot is not tied together where, like the Higgins, it's built onto the building. The same thing with the deck behind the Knotty Pine, it's all part of the property and there's nothing that divides them. So like I told you that I felt there could be some problems with this one for an ongoing event there. I would really like a statement back from the Liquor Commission before we, because I know there is a number of them, and what the chief just read out of state statute, we need to do that. I would rather not give this a pending approval until we hear that, because it could end up nullifying whatever we voted on. It's better off to vote on this and you either say yes or you say no, and then come back. So I think
As a point of order, Mr. Mayor, there is a motion on the floor. We either need to pass the amendment or defeat it before we continue.
Yes, ma'am. That's how we should go about it, to be correct in our.
I couldn't amend the motion, postpone.
Could
the
amend
vote?
the motion, but
You can amend it to postpone the vote for approval, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's easy. We can hold this to the next council meeting. You could vote it down, and then when we get that information, then bring it back and vote on it again.
I think I'd just like to amend my motion to postpone
Okay?
the vote on the open container permit for clarification on whether it's allowed or not.
Okay.
Okay, I'd agree with the amendment also.
Okay. The motion's been, has a motion and a second and an amendment, both approved by the council person that made the motion and the second. So is there any other discussion?
We need to also make sure we know what kind of fence it's going to be, because that
I
green cattle guard stuff, it's been there forever, and then the orange stuff's falling down.
Yeah, because there's ways to put the Powder River panels up and make it,
Oh, is that what those are?
yeah, that's what
Those
that
green
green is. It's Powder River panel, and
I
you can
just thought they were
you can
cowgate.
drive the posts and they have bracing, so that's permanent stands, so it
They look
doesn't get knocked down. It's just, I know, but it's
doesn't-
better than construction plastic
Yeah.
or pallets.
So you guys said there's another way to serve out there without going on the sidewalk?
They'd have to walk through the building, come out the back door and cross the alley into the area.
Would that be a better idea?
Well, it would be better than them walking down this public sidewalk, yes. Because the public sidewalk is not private property to the bar. So that was my concern, was how to get them out there and how to do this. And if they move forward with building something out there, there would be some other stuff that would fall under the same discussion of whether or not they could build something, but whether they can hold that many events out there is still leaves a big question, because we can't be in violation of the state liquor laws or from the Liquor Commission. So if there's no other discussion, I will call. Go ahead. Sorry, I wasn't looking up.
Is there anything besides like the fencing that we can work on between now and the next meeting that anybody else would like to see?
I would say work on your fencing, and your lighting's not too bad out there. You might think about something in your lighting, because you do have a 10 on part of it. You got to deal with the weather out there also, so we'll have to see what comes back from the Liquor Commission. Hopefully we get that back soon, and whatever comes back for that, we will let you know what that is. So
We would also, like we had talked, there would just be the one entrance in, one entrance out, or one exit out. So then there isn't going to be a surplus of people coming in multiple directions. So it'll be very easy to make sure no one under the age of 21 enters. I know that was
yeah, that was
question last time.
That's always been a question and a concern, that we make sure that who's in there is.
Yeah. And if
Of
you guys
age,
would like,
you
we
can-
could do the wristbands
Yep.
as well, just to double check.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of postponing this till the next council meeting, or till we get the information back from, well, it'll be next council, because the information from the Liquor Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Thank you, ladies, for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Sorry this has been such a hassle, and
No, that's okay.
we need to get that information back,
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Have a
thank
good
you
night.
very much. The next order of business, I believe, is bills and claims. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we pay our bills.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just had to ask, where did they do the asphalt patching? On what streets, do we know?
Several, Deer by the senior center, all our water leaks.
Anywhere we had a water leak except 3rd Street, we patched all the repair spots in town.
Oh, okay, because I just wondered, because I didn't see any improvement in the street, so I was just curious.
Oh, well, if you'd have run into one of them holes, you would have.
Oh, I hit one up there by that double wide.
Well, that's
It's still there.
That's mine
No,
subsidence.
Frank said he was gonna go fix it today, so he better
Okay,
fix it today.
it's
so-
a pretty good-
That's part of the mine subsidence. They have to go up there and drill up there too and do some,
They're drilling up there this week too, so.
And on the north side, they're gonna go ahead and fix in those big cracks on 7th. They fixed the one on 6th, and where the drain was bad.
yes,
Are
that's
they
all,
gonna-
and that's all been rotomilled, so they should be doing the total of what was in the construction area. The total overlay will be done in the next couple of
Already
weeks.
Monday.
As far as I know, in the next week or two, it
They
should,
told me Monday, so.
the north side should, the north side infrastructure should be done. And then
And completed.
when the AML project gets done, they will come in and with the AML and rotomill down
And then I'll do it to.
and do a total overlay in the areas where they've drilled holes in all of our new pavement, so we don't have a problem with our new pavement.
Okay, but this 8,000 isn't part of the this is separate from...
No, it's
Okay,
totally separate. It's where
Okay.
we've had numerous breaks in the last 6 to 7 months.
Well,
And
keep an
since
eye
through
on
the whole
this.
winter, because you can't pave them in the winter, we've stuffed them full of dirt and rotomill.
well, they,
Everybody bounces through the one on 3rd Street, but we're not fixing those because we're coming down the street and that'll all be 100%.
I'm not impressed with their patching the stuff they do, because it seems like it's just there for a short time, then you got another hole. Then you
Well,
throw some more junk
I
on it, and rocks pile up.
well, that's
That's why we're
the rotomill.
overlaying, that's why they're
Okay.
rotomill and overlay it.
I'm keeping my peepers peeled.
Yeah, well, keep an eye on it because they did, I can tell you where all the leak patches were this time. They,
You gotta bring the mask down a little bit.
I know, I'm fogging up.
they did do a full thickness patch when they
Okay.
came in because Andreen Hunt was here doing pavement, so they went through and paved those at that time, so.
Randy, did you do the post office, the hole up at the post office? Who fixed that hole? It's lovely that it's gone, whoever fixed it.
Not us, because that's private property, or actually
Oh,
federal
that's-
property, so.
Someone else did that? Well,
It's actually private property leased to the federal government. I don't know who fixed it.
I don't know.
It was
how,
nice. It was nice to have it fixed. Whoever fixed it, thank you for fixing it.
I saw that it was
Well, I
fixed.
seen somebody out dumping
That was
gravel in
horrible.
the hole in the frontage road right by the low-income housing right there, close to the little old preschool and all that. They were filling that in with
I
some,
think the town ought to buy that road and take, or get that road,
It's terrible.
take it over.
well, if we do, we about need to strip it back to dirt and redo, because there's nothing left underneath it. Because it never met, that's the reason it was never, that's the reason it was never annexed in. It was taken back out of that subdivision because it was not done. And if we take that, we're gonna be the ones paying for two blocks full of asphalt, but it may come down to that. It's in terrible shape.
And a lot of alignment repairs.
Well, the post office is the same way. I mean, you go and you see, oh, great, the
Yeah, and that's.
pothole's full, and then you
that's
look over and
something-
that
I'm
whole
sure
piece of
that's something
concrete
in
is
the-
moved.
That's
Somebody
something
hit
in
that.
the lease between the U.S. Postal Service and the people that own those properties. They build them and lease them to the government, and it's, I don't know who's responsible for the upkeep and repair of their parking lot and their railing.
More stuff gets hit in that parking lot. The rail gets hit, those concrete blocks, every time you go in, you're like,
There was
oh.
a multi-million-dollar lawsuit over a lady falling over the handrails going down the front steps, and the handrails were never repaired. I just know how much money was paid out in that. A lot. And that's never been addressed or taken care of up there either, so. But before we move on, would somebody on council would like to make a motion to adjourn to an executive session?
We gotta vote
Wait,
on the bills.
gotta
Oh, we
pay your
didn't vote?
bills.
Dang
No.
it.
We're still in discussion.
We discussed it too long. I have a bill in there, so the mayor will abstain from a vote. All those in favor of paying our bills and claims, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now, somebody like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session for real estate.
I move we adjourn to executive session for real estate.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not? I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? A nay, motion carries. We'll be in there for a little bit. Let's sign Kelly's.